Well, I mean, I started my podcast in 2019, so it's 20.
Okay, 3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
That's ancient in the SE world.
Probably. But I was doing it for a while. I mean, I was sort of on my own, just doing it, not talking to you or Reid or anybody. I was just doing it for well over a year.
You were exposed to it first, though, before you started doing it, I guess, right?
Well, through your videos and Reid's videos.
Yeah.
But I didn't talk to you guys. I just did it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I remember how I got, I think maybe Dolly reached out to me or something. And then...
maybe he commented on your video. Commented on your videos, maybe?
Yeah, something, or my podcast. But which worked out well because it helped me work out some of the kinks before I went to video.
Oh yeah, for sure. I bet.
Right, I think so.
Well, you didn't start doing the video until you met up with Reid, right?
Yeah, like a
Reid
year
Dahl.
ago, and it was April of last year, and I went out to prom. We were going out there that way anyways, and so we thought it'd be a good time to make a connection with Reid and Dolly, and it really worked out well because I wasn't really even planning to go to video, but I'm like, why am I not doing it? It seems like...
Are you glad that you did go to video? Because it can be a hassle to edit all that stuff.
Yeah, editing's definitely a hassle. I didn't really have to edit so much when I was doing a podcast. But I think I had more anonymity, which I liked, probably when I did the podcast.
Yeah.
I was just a name.
I think what was strange about you, from my perspective, is that all of a sudden you were there doing it. Whereas it seemed like people would like mention that they were interested in doing it, and then they would start doing it, and then we were like helping them get started doing it. Yeah. And I think you were maybe
doing it.
Yeah, you just like did it, and we're like, oh, who's this guy? Where'd he come from? Right. So it was like a maturation of the community in a way, to see people just start uploading it without, I don't know, alerting other people that they were doing it. Which is
I didn't even know there was a community. I mean, really, I didn't like...
Really?
No,
That's fine.
When I first started, I didn't know. I mean, I wasn't on Discord. I mean, I didn't even, like, I thought, like...
All you thought were people just uploading videos and there wasn't even a community?
Oh, I didn't...
Well, that explains why we didn't know about you.
I didn't know if you knew Reid or Reid knew you, or, I mean, I don't know. Just, there's just people doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And so I said, all right, I'll do it.
That's so weird. Because when I started, nobody was uploading anything.
Yeah.
And so what happened was the community started first, and then the people started making videos. So you're part of like I don't know, maybe a second generation of SEers, maybe, right, that you started making content, and then you discovered the communities.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was making I made content well over a year, I think, before I talked to anybody.
Yeah. That was weird.
I just thought it'd be important to do, or good to do. Mm-hmm. But in retrospect, I wish I did have the community. I think I'd be further along. Not just to hash out ideas, because I'm just working it out in my own brain at that point, instead of like talking to other people. And it probably would have been better to talk through some of the issues. I wasn't why it's really hard for me to listen to my early podcasts. I wasn't talking things. I hear them and I flinch a little bit because, I will talk. Now I'm feeling much more comfortable talking about like truth in a better way, and also about confidence levels, and I was not really
understanding the concepts.
I thought I was understanding less than I thought I did.
Yeah. Okay, so you went right from watching videos to making your own.
I didn't read.
Or making your own podcast.
I didn't read anything.
There's not much to read.
I mean, there was his piece of book, I guess, came out around then. I didn't read that at the time. I watched your videos and Reid's videos.
I remember you saying Reid's were influential.
They were, not only, but because I'm trying to learn what questions are you asking when you're asking them, and Reid's very deliberative like that, and you are just different. You'll wind up to the question.
I do wind up to it.
Right?
Yeah.
You're like, where's he going?
Right.
And so...
Yeah, so actually it's funny you say that, because when I watch some of my older stuff, I'm like, that's a really good way of describing it, because I don't even know what question. It's like, I know I want to ask this thing, but I don't exactly know how to phrase it.
Right.
And that's what was happening there. It's like, I need to, I want to like unpack how they're getting to that, but I don't know the best way of phrasing it. So sometimes my wind-ups are so long, by the time I ask the question, the person's completely confused.
And right.
I noticed that in some of my older videos.
Well, I don't think from my perspective, the reason, coming being a psychologist, the rapport stuff and all that kind of communication stuff with other people, like, you learn that when you're early on in your studies, hopefully, if you want to be a good psychologist. And so I'm just trying to learn, like, the steps and the logic, like, more so the logic. Like, why is this question happening?
Why is he asking this right here?
Yeah, why? And, like, I'm trying to figure out, like, why is he asking it here? And
well, if you go back to my earlier stuff, I didn't even know what questions to be asking.
Sure.
Like, I didn't even have an idea of, like, what, why, how.
Right.
Or that there's a difference between saying you believe something and that you know it. Or that confidence can be easily confused with commitment. Like, these were things, like, I didn't know. There was so much I didn't know.
I hear you.
So, like, I didn't really know what questions to ask. That's why
I had this conversation about relative truths.
Yeah. No, I had no idea that was even a stumbling block until like 2 years into doing SE.
Right,
Hold on a second. Because I was like, why isn't the outsider test landing with this person?
Yeah.
And then you start thinking, oh, it's because they're viewing truth, that truth doesn't even really matter to them.
Yeah.
Because like my assumption was truth matters to everybody, and people value good evidence, and that they change their mind. And that was an assumption.
I was assuming people just saw truth the way I did. I was like, yeah, people see truth because it's a subjective thing that doesn't depend on people. Of course, people, that's what they think of. Like, no, that's not a thing. In fact, I would probably venture to say that it's more often not the case. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, I hope not.
I don't know. After today, you might.
I wonder. It would be interesting. I think I asked this question once during a review show. Like, it would be neat to see a survey across the world about how people view the word truth and what the breakdown is. Is it 80-20? Do 20% of the people
Personal? Yeah,
personal versus factual. Like that interview that I did today.
Right.
We started talking about the different kind of truth. It'd be really interesting. And if you can get it targeted, if you can get like really focused, like, okay, in this state of America, 95% of the people view truth in a subjective way. I mean, maybe it could be helpful. Like,
wouldn't it explain a lot, like, where we are in our world, our culture,
totally,
our society? That, I mean, it could almost explain most of the variance. If most of the people in our country see truth as personal. Mm-hmm. That it could explain a lot of how we get to places like this. Like, I believe that the election was stolen because I believe it, and it's my truth that it was.
Yeah.
And maybe
and it's on equal footing as objective truth.
Right.
That's how they see it.
Right.
Or they even see it as synonymous as objective truth. I think so many people don't even
think about it.
So many people don't even think about it. They don't even think that how they're thinking about truth. And that in itself, that alone is probably a huge reason why we're in the state that we're in today.
Yeah.
So just bringing in awareness that there's these two different kinds of truths.
I wonder if just talking about that one concept. Forget SE, that one concept.
Yes. Do that for 10 years with the population, and then move on to more, deeper level or higher levels. Because I think that the truth one is one of the deepest levels.
And we often talk about, like, what's the point of doing SE if you're not even, like, you can't really go on from there until you really kind of resolve that.
Yeah, that's my view.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why does anyone...
What's the difference then?
Yeah. What does it matter if somebody has a good reason or not for their level of confidence if they think the truth is anything that they think is the case?
Yeah. Right. And so...
But like none of that, that wasn't even on my radar when I started doing SE. I had no idea that there was this concept, that there was this wide disparity about how people are viewing the word true.
We're trying to push things this way, the culture this way, and then it's a good thing, but then I'm like,
well,
but we're like, and like, time's running out, you know. I think like, it could be like at the end of our democracy here. I mean, like, we're like,
I know.
Time's really running out.
I really worry about that.
Me too.
Like, could we be like one election away from...
That's my concern.
All right. Elections no longer matter because the states can just simply override what the constituency has deemed it to be the case.
Trying to push this. We're trying to swim up this incredibly strong current. That's my concern. Like, yes, what we're doing is obviously good and needed. Is it too late?
Is it too late? I don't know. And maybe a favorable research result would show that this is effective and that could speed the implementation of SE. But that's not even a given.
Most people wouldn't care.
Let's say that there were 10 research studies that showed that SE was effective. We might be in the same position that we're at right now.
I don't know if people would care. You know,
well, the people in power may not care, or I don't want to get conspiratorial.
I'm agreeing with you. I think, I mean, I do think we're close to the end. I mean, very possible of our democracy. I mean, I try to see it as objectively as I can, and I don't know how else to read it. And so we're don't much time. I don't know.
I feel like the clock is ticking.
It is. Because it won't matter. I'm going to start believing what we're told to believe, and that's not good. I want to get there.
I'm really worried about that.
I am too. I actually could sleep over that.
Do you really?
I think we're close.
I don't lose sleep over it, but I'll lay on the couch and I'll be like, holy shit, like this.
Let me put it this way.
This is bleak. This is really bleak.
My heritage is Jewish heritage. And so...
Solomon.
Yeah, Solomon. And maybe it's a kind of more of a personal experience thing, but, we're more sensitive to these kinds of times, right? Like, is this a time, are we living in 1937 Germany? We like to ask each other that, like, cause we want to know, like, do we need to get out? Is it time to get out? We actually have these questions, these conversations, because of that.
Do you really?
Sure.
In the Jewish community?
Oh yeah, sure. Because often we're kind of the bellwether, So, in history's a guide. So yeah, we talk about it, and so we're sensitive to it. Maybe put it that way. I'm not overly sensitive to it, but when these kinds of changes happen,
Wow, that's deep. I didn't even consider that. I didn't even consider that there might be a culture that's a bellwether. My kids went to when we were looking for a daycare for our kids.
Yeah.
We were looking at the Jewish Community Center.
In
town.
Yeah, sure.
And
usually have good daycare.
That was great. It was like the best daycare in San Antonio. So we had our kids go to the JCC.
Did you make them do Friday night Shabbat?
Oh yeah, we did. They did like we experienced Purim.
That's awesome.
And
that's cool. I don't celebrate it. You guys are celebrating.
I remember my kids were like 4 and 3, or 4 and 2.
Right.
And
that's so cool.
It was one of my kids' birthdays, and we sang "Happy Birthday." And then my daughter said, okay, now let's do it in Hebrew.
That's so awesome.
And they started singing Happy Birthday, and my wife and I looked at each other like, oh my God.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's so cool.
And
yeah.
I remember driving my kids home because I would drop them off at daycare and
Right.
I'd pick them up. Actually, this is what led to me getting into SE and like activism. I was driving home and my son, they're both in their car seats in the back seat, and my son says, "Hey, Dad," and I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" He's like, "I'm Jewish." I was like, adjusting the mirror. I'm like, "No, you're not." He's like, "No, Dad, I am. I'm Jewish."
Well, yeah, that's so funny. Well, you were in a little proselytization.
But it was like, it was kind of like eye-opening because it was like, it's so easy to influence a kid.
Yeah, right.
It's like, my wife and I are atheists.
Yeah, right.
Only to find out when I started talking to a lot of the families there, they were all atheists. They were culturally.
Oh
Jewish.
yeah, right. We all are. That's the funniest thing. Like everyone I know who's Jewish is Jewish is atheist. Mm-hmm. It's the weirdest thing, right? Like what? Yeah. Like what are we really?
I was like, you're not Jewish.
Or some...
Oh, Daddy, I am. I'm Jewish. And my daughter's like, I'm Jewish too. I know we were like joking like this crazy, this goofy guy like showing up at your door, but like part of me wonders
right.
Could if things in 10 years, if things keep going on this negative trajectory, could somebody one day show up at my door asking me why I'm uploading videos, questioning people about their religion?
Yeah, I could see that happening. Or questioning like, what have you been doing this whole time?
Yes.
I could see that.
I'm worried about that.
I'm worried about it, but
I think it's kind of far-fetched because I think the trend is more towards secularism. I'm hopeful. Listen, I'm hopeful that this is like the last dying gasp of I don't know what you even call it. Religious fanaticism, Christian nationalism.
But if they're in control and they control they control everything. Then what can we do with that? I mean, we're an election.
If they control the elections, then we're done for.
We're done.
We're done.
What do we do?
I don't know.
Right. And if they decide that we don't want you to upload these videos, like, all right.
All of a sudden, our videos are gone.
Well, they just that's how it happens.
Yeah.
They're just
no one's going to show up at your door.
No.
You just lose your voice.
Some algorithm is just.
You lose
wipe
your
them
voice.
off.
Yes.
And that's kind of happening now. I mean, with the weirdest thing when I uploaded all the anti-vax stuff.
Yes.
And it wasn't anti-vax stuff. It wasn't vax. It was anti-vax. It was just me talking to vax people.
Did some of it make it through though?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Some didn't, and some did. But it was.
I emailed that lady from Google.
Yeah.
Or whatever from Alphabet.
I don't know if that did it. I don't know.
I don't think it had anything to do with it. She didn't do anything.
But I think Reid got stuff taken off, and I know
the SE channel even I think had something striked.
Weirdest thing, Lisa had a vax talk with somebody, and it was taken off before it was as an unlisted video.
Wow! She couldn't even publish it
as an unlisted video. Is taken off. Like whoa,
mm-hmm.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that. I was like,
but the same thing happens on the right. Like, there's some Andrew Tate. I've heard something about this guy Andrew Tate. He's very misogynistic. Mm-hmm. He's very right wing. So, I mean, this is a whole other topic, I guess. But
well, he gets his kids and stuff taken off.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly like libertarian that way. Like, I really want all this stuff not to be taken off, regardless.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're a white nationalist or you're, I don't know what you even call it. What's on the left? A progressive. Woke.
Yeah.
A woke radical leftist.
Yeah.
Put it out there.
Yeah.
Let people discuss it.
I mean, I think I draw the line with like the calling for violence and to kill people and hurt people.
Okay, what did you think about them banning Trump? Twitter banning Trump. Were you paying attention? Were
you mean when it happened way back then?
Were you watching like Trump's tweets on January 6th? And
yeah, he was encouraging. He was inflaming.
I was like,
he was inflaming.
I was refreshing my Twitter like every second.
Yeah, no, I was.
What
there.
is going on?
Yeah, I thought we were at the end.
I thought so too.
Yeah, he was encouraging it. And it's weird that we're having conversations about the obvious. Like, was he doing, like, can you not see what he was doing?
I was like, I literally thought to myself, this guy can tweet, attack the Capitol, and it would be over.
That's just easier to make it by hand.
Do you guys have an air fryer?
We do.
I've heard
Well,
those are all the rage.
I mean, this is it has the feature in it.
Okay.
So.
I don't like it.
You don't like air fryers?
Well, that thing.
Well, you don't like it because your toast takes longer than the previous toaster, so that's...
I'm gonna wait 10 minutes for toast.
That's ridiculous. It used to be a minute and 30
That's
seconds.
a long time away for toast. Like, man, this thing is getting slow. I'm air frying my toast.
You should air fry your toast.
You have a toaster, don't you? You don't have a toaster.
Yeah, you got rid of our toaster, that's why.
You
Yeah,
got rid of the toaster.
Because that's our
That's
toast.
everything. That's got like...
It's all one.
Oh no.
Oh,
It does
man.
everything.
It does everything improperly.
Poorly.
Okay. Now I have heard.
You've heard that?
I have heard the view that if you're using, so street epistemology is a scientific dialectic.
It's Western in the sense. It's Western in the sense that it's logic and Socratic method.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So like if the first people to stumble across the value of the scientific method were white, then I could see how like that might taint the method, but the method still has value regardless of who discovered it.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter who discovered it.
Yeah.
But I think what they're thinking is that, and
I think what they're saying is that
I don't think they're strawmanning the woke. I think the woke have said, there are people like, I think I've interviewed people like Vanessa comes to mind, where if you're valuing if you value the ability to test things, then because white people discovered that first, then that's not valuable. I think I've heard people say that. So that's not, they're not strawmanning the position.
I think what they're saying is that the reason why wokeism is so dangerous is that unlike other beliefs, this belief attacks language itself. That's what they're saying. It attacks the use of how we use words. And that's why it's so dangerous. Because it redefines.
But in SE,
you get definitions.
in SE, exactly.
Yeah.
In SE, we can adopt their definitions for the purpose of exploring their reasoning.
Get definitions. That's whole
And if I use your woke definitions for your reasoning, I suspect that I can help you discover that there's something faulty in the way that you're going about it.
my definition is irrelevant. I want to know your definition of whatever that is,
Yes.
wokeism stuff, and we'll go from there.
It doesn't matter if they're redefining things.
Doesn't matter. We'll use it. We'll use your redefinition.
We'll use it, and
We'll
we
use
will
it.
explore your reasoning to your satisfaction. If I meet a Jehovah's Witness who defines faith as this,
We'll go from there.
or if I meet a woke person who defines, I don't know, racism as this, I don't think it makes any difference in the way that I would approach either party in SE. Why do they think SE will work for the Jehovah's Witness, but it won't work for the woke person? What's
I know.
different?
It doesn't make any sense.
It makes no sense to me.
I know.